Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with Q Macro. That's me, DJ. It's a overcast Friday morning here in Manchester. It was very nice conditions for running this morning. Very quiet, of course, as we're all staying indoors and stuck at home and everything. And in fact, I don't think I saw any traffic. I saw one person walking a dog. And I ran down the middle of the road because I could. It's a little bit like one of those sort of, post-apocalyptic movies. But anyway, here we are. I'm really glad you could join. Thank you very much for coming by on this Friday morning. Robert Dino, howdy to you and Christian. Good morning to you in Munich. Got a really interesting set of things to share with you today. Sort of a continuation of where we left off, or what we were doing really on Wednesday. I've had a request, a couple of requests to sort of recap a little bit of that as well, because it was quite detailed, and sometimes with certain subjects, it's not a bad idea to sort of go over things a couple of times. So we'll sort of start with a bit of an overlap with Wednesday and then can carry on. But I really want to force myself to get to where I wanted to get to last Friday, crazily enough, to see if we could see how the UAA service works in conjunction with your app in Cloud Foundry to go through the authentication code flow, that the OAuth 2.0 flow that we've been learning all about in the previous episode. So that's keep me on track, please, and maybe we'll get there. So, oh goodness me, Manuel, good morning. Helmut, moin to Hannover, Dusan, good morning. Krish, good morning to Bengaluru. Good morning. Yes, and good morning, Vincent, as well. And Robin, good morning again. Nice to see you again. That's twice in a week. Yeah. So we had this extra bonus episode on Wednesday. Let me know in the comments if you fancy another Wednesday one next week. Next Friday is a public holiday here in the UK, but I'm going to see if I can still try and do a live stream episode. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you fancy another one on Wednesday. If not, we'll just do one on Friday, I think. Fuad, good morning. Let me know if I pronounced that correctly, Fuad. And welcome, absolutely welcome. Everybody's welcome. So let's get going. Hey Leo, good morning. Are you in Frankfurt this morning, or are you in Rotterdam? Let us know. Let us know how you're doing as well. And this morning, in contrast to Wednesday morning, I'm feeling a lot better because my coffee arrived on Thursday from Packed Coffee. No, it arrived after the live stream, didn't it? So I was quite relieved. So I've got a nice coffee this morning in my SAP e-coffee cup. Oh yes, that reminds me. Before we move on to the main scene, I did a bit of a giveaway. On Wednesday, I sent some stickers out to, I think, Christian, you got some stickers, didn't you? Just to remind you, anybody who fancies any stickers, we've got some awesome CAP stickers, Cloud Application Programming Model stickers. These are quite cool. We've got some super cool Hands on SAP Dev stickers, courtesy of the great Ronnie Sletter. So there we go. There's Hands on SAP Dev. I've also got, they're not in this box. I've got some badges as well. I've got a load of developers.sap.com stickers, the long ones, the really cool ones. So I've got a load of those. So if you fancy any of those, I've got one single SAP Cloud SDK sticker. So whoever, somebody's just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much. If anybody wants that or others, let me know. Usual procedure. Just send me a direct message on Twitter. Don't send your address in public, and I'll send them off. I've got some envelopes. I've got some stamps, and there we go. And I've also got these badges as well. So remember those /H. What's going on? /H. That's an awesome badge. Who can tell me in the comments what that means or what that signifies? I need my glasses to read these. What are they here? Oh yes, caffeine to code machine. There we go, caffeine to code machine, and we've also got. I think this is the new catchphrase from Max: eat, sleep, code, repeat. So we've got some of those as well. So if you have any badges as well in the post, let me know. So there's the stickers, there's the badges, and yeah, there we go. So Christian, oh, you're welcome, Christian. Thanks for the stickers. Tim, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Tim in Chorlton. Phil, good evening, sir. Good evening. That's great to see you. And Gregor Servos, start ABAP debugging. Exactly, Gregor. Obviously, it's no surprise that you know that. Well done. Debugger, yes. In German, it's called the Hoppelmodus, the hobble mode. And we used to call it hobble as well, hobbling the system. And it goes all the way back to R2, actually, when you could look in the ZCSA, there's the common system area. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's a couple of things I wanted to share. Hey, Chesh, good morning. Good morning. You've almost caught up from episode 0. You're now at episode 51 since last March. Chesh, send me your address. I'm going to send you some stickers and a t-shirt as well. That just absolutely deserves a round of applause. Well done. For persevering through all those recordings. My goodness me, that's crazy. Well done. So yeah, let me know in the send me a Twitter DM and I'll send you some stuff. Yes. Oh, Christian /H saved a go live last week. Brilliant. /H, it's our friend. We love debugging, right? We love digging into things, and that's what we're hopefully going to do today as well. So there we go. /$sync. Oh, that used to sort of refresh the buffers, didn't it? Your session buffers. I think that's what it did. That's a long time. I've not seen that for about 20 years. I think that's what it is. I can't remember. There we go. Yes, it is. It is, Phil. It is an amazing effort. Chesh, brilliant. Okay, so let me move on to the main scene, and yeah, let's get going. I always like to do this little lolcat. What's it called? Figlet little display. I quite like that display. But anyway, let me move up, and just there's a few things to share with you. So was it last Friday? Whenever it was, episode, in fact, let's have a look. Hands on SAP Dev. There we go. And we had, in episode 59, it was Wednesday last week, we had a super special guest on, a friend and colleague of mine from the Developer Advocates team, Kevin Mussig, who's based over in Palo Alto. He came on and showed us some really cool stuff to do with the Catalyst Ready iOS SDK from SAP 5.0. Kevin has now got his own YouTube channel. So there we go. There's Kevin's YouTube channel. So if you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/djadamsqmacro, there's a link there from my channel to Kevin's channel. Go over to Kevin's channel and subscribe. The reason my subscribe buttons are showing up that I'm not subscribed is because I'm not logged in, because I'm using incognito mode, so I can use this other cloud platform account in a minute. Oh, that's an awesome little video there. That's Kevin. And Kevin looks like that as well. In fact, there he is. Let's stop that video right now, because otherwise it's a bit weird. And we've got also, Max did an awesome live stream yesterday. So if you haven't seen the recording of that, go over to Max's channel. Again, link on my page. And there's the recording, Max's Adventures in SAP Cloud Platform. And of course, we all know that Tom is now live streaming again with ABAP Freak. So there's Tom's channel. You get a link there to Tom's channel as well. SWUOBUF. Tim, it doesn't surprise me that you're coming up with a transaction like that. You are Mr. Workflow, aren't you? In the application workflow in the ABAP stack, right? I'm guessing that is one of those workflow transactions. So it is clean all buffers. Dennis, hello, hungry learners. Yes, we're all hungry for learning here, aren't we? Thank you. That's a good phrase. Hello, hungry learners. I like that. And $tab, Andrew. Yes, classic from the past, a blast from the past. $tab. My goodness me, you've all got an amazing memory. Should be caught up by June, July at this pace. June, July, but what year, right? Okay, let's see if we can, see if we can keep providing content for Cheshire and many others. So that's Kevin, that's Tom, that's Max, but also I just wanted to let you know, you probably know already, I'm doing a regular live stream 3 times a week in the afternoon, UK afternoon, Code at Home, for all the folks who have kids stuck at home. And if the kids want to learn a bit of programming, really basic, fundamental, beginner stuff in JavaScript, if you head on over to my homepage here, qmacro.org, you'll see that there is, I've just posted a blog post yesterday, a summary of the episodes we've done so far and what we did and where the resources are. There's, for example, the Code at Home resources, which are in this Replit environment. It's great fun, and all beginners welcome. So and the next one is this afternoon UK time, 15:30, and we do it for an hour as well. So that's that. Finally, another friend and colleague of mine, another developer advocate, super awesome person, as you I'm sure know, Josh Bentley, also having a blue beard. He's got a podcast. I think the first episode was like an introductory episode. That was a few days ago. And let me put that in the thing there, in the chat. It was really good. But he's also now, I think, out is version 2 or episode 2 of the podcast, an interview with Kevin Mussig. Okay, so if you want to learn more about the Cloud Platform SDK for iOS, then of course watch the live stream recording from last week, episode 59. But also you can listen to Josh talk with Kevin. And in fact, I'm getting online with Josh later today to record another episode on something that we've been talking about before. So you'll see. So there we go. So did I put that link in there? Yeah. Okay. So get onto that podcast and subscribe. And there we go. There's Kevin. And there's that. Perfect. So I think we're ready. I have some mini eggs here. So I'm going to have a bit of chocolate because it's Friday. Oh, and let's get going. So, Andrew. And of course, /HS. Yes, Hobble system. /H for Hobble and /HS for Hobble at the system level. Nice memory there, Andrew. Got lovely memories of debugging R2 and R3, but R2 especially on the beautiful 3278 terminals, IBM mainframe. Happy days. Still happy days now because we're all learning together. So let's go. Where we left off last week, or not last week, this Wednesday, was that we've been messing around with a really simple dest test app and just poking it with a stick, or poking the Cloud Foundry services with a stick. So let me remind ourselves, we've got here 2 destinations. I think we ended up with 2 destinations defined in my Cloud Foundry sub-account. Okay, so it's at the sub-account stroke organization level that we're defining our destinations. And then so we've got the shop info destination, which is an on-premise destination, which means it goes down the Cloud Connector route. And of course, we've got the Cloud Connector all set up already. But I think also then, just to prove something to ourselves, and we'll go back on that, we also created a version pointing also to the ES5 system, not via the on-premise proxy type, but via the internet proxy type. So it's directly available on the internet. Okay, and we can see there's the URL, SAP ES5, sapdevcenter.com, blah, 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 and we're just picking out a shop service. So in fact, that's where we left off last time. And both of those we've supplied basic authentication to, so we can, authenticate or have this destination authenticate with that backend service. It's the same backend service. One's going down the Cloud Connector, the other one isn't. It's going straight there. Okay. And what we did, let me move that down now. What we did was we had a desk test little app where in our manifest we'd been modifying this, and Gregor we'd put from Gregor's comment we'd put that memory directive in, and we'd added the destination service. So let's go back there, and we'd also added the build pack to stop it sort of downloading a million build packs to try and figure out what it was. And then we'd also specified the shop info destination. Okay, So why don't we just deploy that now with a cf push, and just bring ourselves up to date, and then we'll move forward from there. Let's go back up here and let's open up another tab actually. Let's copy this and put that there. So we've got over here in this tab, we've got the destinations we can refer to. But then we'll go to the applications section of the single dev space in this organization, in this Cloud Foundry organization that we've got, which is there. Okay, so there's the desk test from last time actually. So let's have a look at this, what's going on. There we go. So we got the waiting for API to complete processing files. And remember as well, last week we had a really interesting, funky standard I/O pipeline using the power of the terminal, the power of the command line to sort of monitor what's going on. Okay, so we'll start that running as well. Yeah, we're almost there, right? Okay, so okay, come on. Uploading. And what we had is I think we tried the shop info internet destination at the end of last week, and that worked with just the destination service bound, because remember, if we've got a destination, whether that destination is defined as an environmental variable or whether it's defined as part of a set of configuration parameters and provided by, or not provided by, what's the phrase I'm looking for, provisioned by the destination service, and that destination is not a cloud connector based destination, then everything works fine. All we need is the destination service, and that destination service is doing nothing other than providing up that destination definition. So that's now deployed, and we can see in our logging here, in our much neater logging, hey, good morning, Max. Welcome, and great to have you on board. Great to see you. I've just been pointing to the recording of your live stream, your excellent live stream yesterday. And in fact, we talked about you earlier because I can't find one now, but I've got some badges, and in fact, maybe I should send some to you. Eat, sleep, code, repeat, which is your new catchphrase on your live stream, isn't it? Anyway, so we've got that now, and let's just remind ourselves of what we had in there. We got the shop info route. Okay, we got this authentication method none as well, but let's just see what happens when we go and try and access this application route. Opens up a new thing there. Internal server error. Okay, and what is that we've got there? Let's just have a look. The internal server error is this, right? Destination shop info with proxy type on premise, but connectivity service is not bound. You fool. We might as well put you fool, DJ, in brackets there. But that's exactly what we're expecting and hoping for, right? We love errors because we learn from them. And yeah, that's what we had last week. And just to remind people, because I got a couple of questions offline afterwards, that basically is because in our manifest, we've only defined the destination service. Now, remember that in fact, let me show you, we called our services. Let me go into here. In fact, let's open up another one, right? And we can have a look at the services in a separate tab. I've created instances of the destination service, of the connectivity service, and of the XSUAA service, and I've called those instance names the same names as the service because it's just easier for my brain to think about. So let's go back to here into the dev space and just let's bring up the services, which are, of course, here. For those, by the way, for those of you using Vimium in Chrome, which is an awesome plugin, of course, you can use the F to sort of highlight links. But oddly enough, these links, when we've got this menu expanded, they don't work. But if you what's the word? What's the opposite of expand? Contract. If you contract the menu, then these little icons work, which is pretty cool, right? So we can go FC, and then we can go to the service marketplace or the service instances and so on. So there we go. Anyway, Vimium works really nicely with the cockpit. Who knew? So we can see here we've got the connectivity service, the destination service, and the XSUA service, and these are the instance names. Okay, so that's why, I just want to explain, that's why, we're pointing to the name of the instance, not the name of the service. Okay, and we deliberately left out the connectivity service to get this error. So we've got this error here. Oops. I can't go to the destination shop info because it's proxy type on premise, right? And you haven't bound a connectivity service to me, so I can't access it because it's a connectivity service that knows about how to descend down a cloud connector tunnel. And what we did on Wednesday was we used the cockpit to bind the connectivity service, but I want to repeat this anyway, but instead of using the cockpit, we can actually use the CF command line. So let's leave that there. I quite like that log. Remember, we've got a little bit of work to do with this pipeline, with this sort of the pipeline that you can see at the top here, because it's only capturing the stuff that is that JSON output, okay, from those web modules. But we'll do that over time. So if we now go here and instead what we could do is add the connectivity service to this array of service instances, but we won't do that. Instead, we can say CF, and we'll have a look at the information here, and we can say bind service. Okay, but there's bind service. So CF bind service, and you can get help on each of the things here. So let's have a look at this. Ooh, that's quite interesting. So CF bind service app name service instance. Okay, and there's parameters we can specify, but I don't think we need to specify any parameters here right now. So why don't we try that? Okay, so we'll bind the service, bind service app name dest test with the connectivity service, which is called with the instance of the connectivity service. Let's run that. And by the way, I watched the Wednesday one back because I couldn't remember. Oh, hold on, what's that? Yes, because I couldn't remember one of the things I wanted to do and to repeat to help the person or the people who were asking me to, just go over it again. And my face is always at the bottom, right? The video is always at the bottom, and a couple of the commands were sort of obscured by my face. So if that happens, let me know in the chat, and I'll clear the screen and do the typing at the top. There's a person I watch on YouTube, Luke Smith, all sorts of wonderful Linux stuff. He's very good at remembering or being aware that his face is in the way, so he moves his scenes around and looks very professional. And I'm not very professional at all. So so it's saying here that of course when we bound that service, remember on Wednesday we had to restart it. So let's actually say restart or restage. Let's dig into the difference between restarting and restaging. Later on or another time, really. Restage dest test, and also I want to dig into looking at the running app in the container in a second, and we'll need to restart the service when we do something special to do that later on. Okay, so we're restaging it. I think Max, you talked about did you talk about restaging on yesterday? You did, didn't you? Yeah. Or am I dreaming that? So yeah, let's restage it and then see what happens. Okay. I've got see what I can have in this second and last bit of chocolate. Very nice. Okay. Waiting for app to start. Oh, let's go across to the logs here. And hopefully, I'm not sure whether, there we go. Yeah, I'm not sure whether the restage is more extreme than, anyway, doesn't really matter. So the application router is now listening again. Okay, so it's all good. So if we bring that down and bring this one up again and go to here, in fact, this is the thing that we had the error from, where and the error was actually a 500. Internal server error usually means 500. It was, remember, it was 500. See there, 500. Where is it? Ooh. Oh, sorry. Keyboard nightmare. There we go. There, it was 500. Okay. So now let's just refresh and see what happens. There we go. That's what we got last time. There we go. Thanks, Max. Yes, you did. Okay, I did remember. I'm not going completely crazy. You talked about you did buying. Did you do buying service as well? Maybe that's where I got the idea to do this buying service from. Oh, nice one, Max. Thank you very much for that inspiration. Restart, restage, and CF end. Yes, we're going to look at the environmental variables in a really cool way shortly. Okay, so this is where we got to last time, and basically we're getting this issue because we're now saying, well, let's use the connectivity service to go down the cloud connector tunnel to get to the shop info destination, which is defined as that ES5 endpoint behind, on-prem at the end of that tunnel. But there's authentication involved in this on-prem proxy type destination. And we've specified, if you remember, what's going on here? Oh, here we go. We've specified in the, where are we? There we go. In the XS app.json, we've specified authentication method none. Okay. So let's remove that and see what happens. CF push. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I found something really cool, which was a way to really easily render Markdown. Okay, because remember on Wednesday we found an absolutely amazing resource. Where is it? Here it is. If we go into Desk Test and have a look in the approuter node module, remember we saw this, and there was this treasure chest of information in this README Markdown. Okay, and there's a ton of stuff, and I don't mind reading Markdown in the raw, but I mean I think a lot of people are a little bit sort of dodgy on that. So what you can do, there's loads of ways of doing it, but what you can do is, in fact, let me open up a new. Let me go with a new actual window here. Let's bring that into there and go into gist. I can't even say it. gist.github.com. Okay, and these are sort of little snippets of code that you can look at or share. It's like a side extension of the whole GitHub area. And what I did was I've got the approuter I've got the approuter README documentation here in my downloads. I've just copied it from that directory there, so I can just drag that into there. Get rid of that one. Drag that into there. Just I'm going to create a gist temporarily. I'll delete this after, but you can do this as well, right? And we've got a beautiful way of reading that documentation, and you will see that it's absolutely packed full of information. Okay, so we'll come back to that. I mean, look at all that. It's just ridiculous, and it's got all sorts of stuff, including including information about serving static files. So if we get a chance, we'll have a little play with that. I've just seen a little chat from Gregor. Where's Gregor gone? Here we go. But isn't there a way to call even on-prem destinations with authentication none? Yes, I think there is actually. Maybe we'll play around with that next time. But yes, I think there should be. I think what I want to do is maybe with you or on my own read through that whole approuter documentation and do that. So anyway, let's have a look where we are with that deploy. Okay, it's failed. Okay, so why has it failed? Right, this is great. Let's just see cf logs dest test, and we all know on this live stream series that we love failures because we learn from them, right? So here we go. There's a nice failure. So let's have a look. Let's go back. That's right. So no UAA service found. So now, first of all, and this ties into what you were saying, Gregor. First of all, the error message that we got in the browser when we tried to access, let's bring the browser back for a second. Where are we? Here we go. This error message, this error message here, we got that when we had the authentication method none. And what I think is happening, and I might be wrong. Why does it say LinkedIn there? I don't know. And what might be happening is that, there it goes. Okay. I pressed refresh by mistake, but there we go. The root does not exist because it's been redeployed. Anyway, what was happening was that the authentication method none wasn't quite right for the basic authentication configuration in our shop info destination, because we've got basic authentication there. So how's this going to work? So I think that's something to do with it. But where does that leave us? That leaves us with this error. Where was the error? There we go. Error, no UAA service found. So why is it asking for why is it thinking it needs a UAA service? Okay, it's because, and if you look at the documentation, you will see that the authentication method that we've just removed, right? Whereas, let me find it. There we go. There's the authentication method. In here, the authentication method that we just removed from the xsapp.json, that had been explicitly specified as none, but the default is authentication method root, which requires a root by root authentication flow. Okay, which means that the approuter needs to talk to a user access and authorization and administrator. I can never remember what UAA stands for. Access and administration. No, access and authorization, or is it authentication and access, or I don't know. But it needs a UAA service in order to provide the root-based authentication, which we're now implicitly asking for because we removed the authentication method. Okay, but before we go there, okay, let's just try something slightly different, because the really interesting thing here is that we can specify any sort of destination, right? So if we say, for example, Northwind, okay, that destination is not in the list of destinations in the destination service. All we've got is shop info and shop info internet. What we can do, thank you, Gregor, user authentication. Interesting. User authentication and authorization. Yes, I know that those two words go together because, of course, authentication is, can you prove who you are? And authorization is, do you have the right scope, access to get this particular resource? However, I've seen UAA called using one of those words, authentication or authorization, and the other word was access, okay, which I suppose is the same sort of thing as authorization. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter, what's a few words beginning with A amongst friends. So anyway, where were we? Oh yes, right, that's right. Yeah, so we're now looking at this thing called Northwind, which we don't have a destination for. However, right, the really cool thing is we can define destinations here. And why don't we also add, while we're here now, we'll add it now. We've proved that we can bind a service using the CF bind service. And now we can say, I want to provide some environmental variables. Destinations, remember on Wednesday? We used the destinations. In fact, there we go. Destination, there we go, export destinations. So the environmental variable is actually called destinations, lowercase, plural. Remember, we played around with that and when we ran the approuter locally on this machine, okay? Oh, I've got, what Max saying here? Vanilla CF meaning is user account and authentication, but everybody knows what yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's the real point, that when we talk about UAA, we know what it means. It's all about authenticating and authorizing, people or services that want to access, well, yeah, it's users, isn't it, that want to access resources. Anyway, so we played around with this destinations environmental variable or environment variable. So we don't need that. So destinations, and what you can do this is a bit funky, what you can do is you can supply in YAML a sort of a raw string, and that greater than sign means basically the following lines, just concatenate them all together when you finish, and you can have like lots of white space. So we can define a destination called name north wind, and then we'll have the URL, a little bit like we define the destination on the command line. Services. I've used this so often I should remember what it is. odata.org v4 northwind.svc. That's the Microsoft way of doing an OData service name convention, which is cool. There we go. That looks weird, right? JSON inside of YAML, but so we've got that now. If we say cf push, let's see what happens. Okay. It's 8:36 already. My goodness me! So I also the really nice thing is, I think people know that I'm not a big fan of generally the way that CF outputs its output, but this is really nice. It's saying, you changed destinations. Boring badger. That's interesting, but not boring. So yeah, let's bring this in and try to access that destination, or try to access that endpoint, and let's see if it works. Okay, but then I want to move on quickly to the bringing in the XSUAA service, because I want to get to the authorization code grant type flow to see, we can see it in action hopefully. Anyway, are we all still there? Are we all still caffeinated, or Phil and Andrew, have you got a nice glass of vino or a can of beer in the evening over there? Let me know how you're doing. Okay, so and don't forget to DM me on Twitter if you want any of these badges or stickers, HandsOnSAPDev stickers, developers.sap.com stickers, cap stickers, one single SAP Cloud SDK sticker, because I think I gave the last one to the previous one to Christian. There we go. Let's see. Okay, waiting for app to start. Let's go back. What have we got in here? Okay, fine. We'll just get rid of that there. Oh, there we go. Dynamic log level switching not available. And remember, from Wednesday, we know that was the first thing that always gets spat out by the app once it starts up. Okay. So we should see it almost started. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. Oh, actually, hold on. What's happening here? Is it trying to restart? Have I done something wrong here? We'll find out. CF logs dest test recent. Let's have a quick look. Oh, now then. Okay, we've still no UAA service because, yeah, what a fool, because I'd removed that authentication method none. What a fool. Okay, so it's gonna, there we go. So, but we're starting to learn about the pattern of how things work. Did you notice that it said waiting for app to start and it took ages? That's because it was giving it a couple of times, or 2 or 3 times, I think, to start. There's one error. Scroll up again. There's the same error. Scroll up again. Okay, so it tries, in this case, it tried twice. So what I'll do very, very briefly is test. We'll go into here and just add that back. Authentication method none. So yeah, push. So now, because let's do one step at a time, right? This, even though it might take a couple of minutes, this will hopefully not suppress. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to be suppressed, but it will hopefully not cause that error to happen. Let's just find out. Oh, so Andrew is saying, I'm enjoying a Montepulciano from the Eden Valley in Australia. Lovely. Thank you for sharing it. And Phil, absolutely, drinking a 2016 Jam Shed. I think I've had Jam Shed. Shiraz from the Clare Valley. Nothing like drinking some country local at least, produce. Awesome. Phil, mine's a Rolf Binder or Binder and rather yummy. Excellent. Well, I'll be having a beer or two tonight. Yeah, there we go. That's really good. That's really good. So while I wait, let's just go into here and let's go into the manifest. I will add. Oh, actually, if I do that, it'll go excess. Let's put that in for next time, because what I want to do is vi excess app.json. I do want to remove that, but let's just do one thing at a time. I think I'm sort of slightly rushing this again because there's so much to show, but we'll see. Let's just see what's going on here. Waiting for app to start. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, container became healthy. That's good. There we go. So it started. Let's grab the output of the sort of the logs there. So now, what have we got? If we bring this back up here and say, let's just refresh that, make sure we're still authenticated with the cockpit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, Cloud Platform cockpit. There we go. We got an application root, and there we go. We've now successfully defined. Let's go back to the thing there. Let's go back to here. We've successfully defined a destination sort of inline, okay? And we've defined that destination just like you define it in the cockpit, using the destination service, right? However, we've just applied it on, in a destination variable, right, in the environmental variable, and it's being it's being used here. Now, why don't we? I mean, there's so much to share here. It's just, I think we'll have to maybe another couple of episodes next week. But what I want to show is that we can see, we reached out and touched this approuter running, and we just feel a lot better, when we can do that. When you run it locally, of course, a node, in fact, npm start. Am I in the right directory? Yes, npm start. By default, it listens. Okay, well, there's an error there. Okay, root references unknown destination Northwind. So we could say destinations equals Northwind. Name equals Northwind. URL. Com. I don't know why I'm putting that in there. There we go. And then we'll say npm start. Let's not even go there. I don't want to dig down there. What I really want to do is just remind ourselves that the default port is 5000, which we saw on Wednesday when we ran it locally, but it's listening on 8080. And I would like to get a little bit closer to that port. And you can do that because you can look at your running apps and you can SSH into the container. And let's just do that really quickly, step by step. So first of all, let's just try and SSH into the container. Oh, there we go. What I did, what I was expecting to have to enable SSH. I think I must have already enabled SSH earlier this morning when I was messing around just, in sort of final prep for this. But yes, Max, I will have an Orval tonight. In fact, the glass is there waiting, it's just waving at you, Max. I know, because it knows that you like Orval so much. But I think it will be an Orval. I need to put it in the fridge, and I have one left. Yes. So where are we? We're now in the container that is running, and in fact, who am I? I'm VCAP. Okay, I'm inside this container. Host name. Well, you can see it in the actual prompt there. That's the host name. It's crazy. And in fact, if we do a PSXF, we can see that there's hardly anything running. Okay, this is a beautiful example of the container in action. There are three things running. The first thing is this health check thing, which in fact, when you deploy something with CF, you can by default, okay, it will provide a health check, or it will expect a health check at port level. Can I sort of connect to this port, right? You can also specify, in fact, let's just go here, CF push help. There we go. Where is it? There we go. Application health check type. By default, it's port. Okay, but you can also specify a health check using the root endpoint, for example, with HTTP. So a health check is basically where the system can say, is this app still healthy, by pinging it or connecting to the port and so on, right? So that we're seeing there, this thing, where is it? Is the health check. Max, you talked about Diego yesterday, right? So Max, tell us in the comments about Diego, because I want to move on to what the other thing is down here, which is the final bit that's running, which is NP. Okay, there's a garden as well. Let's ignore that for now, right? Which is what we told it to do, right? So what happens when we deploy a Node.js build pack based app to Cloud Foundry? It's going to run npm start, okay? And remember when we specified here in our package.json, we defined the start script to be, or to do, node modules at SAP approuter.js. So that's exactly what it's doing. Node modules SAP approuter.js. So that's really cool. Not only that, we can have a look. Okay, what's listening? What's listening? And we can see that there are two processes, two things listening on a couple of sockets. One is 8080, which is our app, okay? So there's going to be an environmental variable that will tell approuter what port to listen on, not the default port of 5000. Exactly. So Diego is, thank you, Max. Diego is the container or the cell type. It's basically a little bit like a pod in Kubernetes or a Docker container, right? Smallest runnable artifact. Is that a possibility for another T-shirt? Smallest runnable artifact. I've ordered my OAuth at 8 a.m. T-shirt, orchestrated right now by Bosch. Yes, exactly. There's so much stuff to know and so much stuff to learn, and I'm really glad we're sort of taking this journey together. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that, and in fact, we can say curl -v localhost 8080. What are we going to get there? Bang! We're going to get the Northwind because we're inside the container now. We're asking ourselves at port 8080, give me root, and because of the definition in xsapp.json, we define that route to say we'll go to the Northwind destination. What is the Northwind destination? Well, there's no destination, but env. There's a ton of environmental variables there. And in fact, we can just say echo. Let's just make a guess here. Is there one? Destinations. Yes. Okay. So that destinations environmental variable definition from our manifest has made its way all the way up into the container and is now informing the approuter, or the approuter is using that to resolve the destination. Okay, and if it can't find it in the end, it's going to look in the destination service. Okay, so hopefully is this all starting to make sense, right? Oh, Andrew, perhaps a T-shirt for running club members. Oh, orchestra. What the what was the phrase again? What did I say with the phrase? Andrew, remind me what the phrase was. It's completely gone out of my head. Why would that be a t-shirt of a running club member? That sounds really cool. Oh yes, it was something that Max said. That's right. What did Max say? The smallest runnable artifact. Yes, of course. Brilliant, Andrew. Smallest runnable artifact. Oh, I'm gonna spend all my money on t-shirts. Unique t-shirts. Brilliant, Andrew. That's a nice thought. Anyway, we have closed the loop from the cliffhanger. Yeah, we have, exactly. We've closed the loop. So now I'm going to sort of jump slightly ahead because I really want to, smallest runnable artifact, I really want to sort of let's exit from this container. And let me bring back the RMRF desk test. Let me bring back the whole desk test from last week. 61 desk test to here. So that's where we left off, right? And we don't need the logs there, right? So we got the manifest. We'll add back in the connectivity service and the XSUAA service. Do we need anything back? No. Oh, see, I even wanted to show you how the approuter can serve static resources as well. It's fantastic. But we'll have to do that another time. So let's do that. Okay, yeah, write that and also go into the xsapp.json, remove that and have the shop info, which is now back. It's a destination that we've defined in the Cloud Platform cockpit that will be served up to the app via the destination service. So let's remove the desk test app now. CF remove, force, remove the root desk test, and then CF push. Let's push it. What? CF. Oh, sorry. CF delete. There we go. So let's delete that. We don't need that one. Let's just tidy up a little bit here. There we go. What? Did I kill that? What did I want to do? What? CF. What's going on? What? Let's have a look. We don't need that. There we go. That application is gone now because we deleted it. Did that happen so fast? No. Okay, fine. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, let's do that again. So yeah, let's just do that and just not DJ. Don't mess about with anything. Right there. Right. Interesting. Yes, this was a different window in tmux, right? And I was still in the desk test directory that the inode that I deleted. So I was standing on on nothing. So the first command failed. CF delete failed, and therefore the second command ampersand only runs if the first one succeeds, but it didn't succeed, so the CF push didn't work out. So I need to go back out there and back in and run it again. Okay, that was a bit of a weird thing, but anyway. Okay, the desk test doesn't exist. Fine. Okay. We'll have by the time this uploads, we're going to have 5 minutes together to start touching what's behind the scenes with the power of the approuter and XSUAA, right? The XSUAA service, the instance of which we've bound now to the service, Shy Impala. I like that. That's a good one, Impala. See, Impala obviously is it's an animal, it's a wild animal, isn't it? But for me, an Impala will always be the model from Chevrolet back in the 70s. Beautiful car. Chevy Impala. I had a Chevy Caprice, which is like the Impala's sort of sister or brother. A 1973 Chevrolet Caprice, and it was huge and it was beautiful. But anyway, there's another story for another time. So there we go. Let's have a look. Let's just maybe do the CF logs again. See what's happening. Waiting for app to start. Oh, a lag down under. So every phrase is almost like a t-shirt ready phrase. Lag down under. Maybe that's not a good t-shirt phrase. But anyway, waiting for app to start. Come on. And then what I want to do is bring in, let's just get this ready over here. Okay, there we go. We can see the app starting up. Dynamic log level switching not available. That's the stuff coming out of the approuter.js, redirected through the CF logs pipe, beautificated by tidied up by our little pipeline of beautiful terminal commands there. There we go. It's listening on port 8080, right? So now, if we go back to here, and do we need that? We don't need that really, no. Remember there is our shop info. We're going to go down there. Now, I just wanted to refresh this, just to make sure there's nothing up our sleeve. Is that a shout out to the Aussie band Tame Impala? Ooh, yes. I think I might listen to some Tame Impala. But no, I mean Chevrolet Impala. Yeah, 1969. Look at that. I mean, that is like a thing of beauty, right? Anyway, desk test. I'll dig out, actually. Oh, no, I won't dig out. Right, here we go. Shy Impala. Let's go there. And look at that. We're being challenged we're being challenged as a user to authenticate. Now, what I think we should do instead, right? Instead of going through here, let's close this. Let's copy this URL, right? Let's open up a new tab and open up immediately the Chrome Developer Tools. Let's use large request rows. We don't need much in the actual thing there. Let's get rid of the one that's there. We paste that in and see what happens. We also preserve log. Okay, that's good. Preserve log. These days, I'm doing so many things that go back and forth between different services that I want to keep the log from the previous request and then the next request and so on. So let's sort of engineer not a cliffhanger, but an exciting thing to wait for next time to see what happens, because you will hopefully see with me that the authentication code grant type that we learned all about in the previous episodes, right? That's what's being followed here by approuter working with the UAA service. So I'm going to request that route with the / which should get redirected to the shop info, right, through that xsapp.json. Oh my goodness me. Okay, so we got now the challenge. And remember, the first thing, if we go back to here, authorize with a Z, Asian code, access workflow APIs is what we went through. Access workflow APIs using OAuth 2 authentication authorization code grant, right? The first thing we're told to do, if we want to do this thing, and we did it manually, right, is to go and request an authorization code from the OAuth 2 authorization server. And this is the thing. Combine the parameters with the authorize endpoint of the authorization server. So the authorization server, remember, we got that from the service keys, from the instance of the service, right? And the authorization server was something like, there. It's the something, your trial account name, .authentication. Remember that from the service keys, right? That was the UAA.URL property in those service keys. Going back and look at HandsOnSAPDev episodes 58 maybe and 57, right? So the first thing that happens is we should get a request, or we need to actually, to follow the authorization code grant, we need to follow the request to say, right, go and ask for an authorization code. And you go to the authorization endpoint, the authorization server, /OAuth/authorize, give it a client ID and ask for a response type code, give it a response type code. Now, it says also here, authenticate the call using the real user, the human user that should be propagated the workflow service, right? So let's see if we can sort of translate what we're seeing here to what's happening here. So the first thing is, well, it looks on the surface like that thing is being followed. So because we're being asked, a human, me, DJ, a user, is being asked to authenticate. But where's that come from? But look, we can already see, can we make that a bit bigger? No. We can already see, look at that. P2000, blah, 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 whatever it is, trial authentication EU10 HANA-ondemand.com /OAuth/authorize /response type equals code and client ID, or question mark response type equals code, and client ID equals the ID of the client, i.e., remember the client ID, the application, which is effectively from the service bindings or the environment of the approuter, right? And we also get that redirect. Remember when we got the authorization code in the previous episodes, we were doing it manually and we didn't specify a redirect URI, and the default is to go to localhost something or other and then you get the code, right? So we can just grab it from the URL that we were redirected to, right? So that's what I said. That's exactly what's happening here. In fact, interestingly enough, right, why do we get this first thing, desk test giant parlor, blah, 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 we get a 200 OK. And in fact, if we see the preview, right, we can't really, I don't know why we can't see that, but, well, I've got a guess. So why don't we just grab that for a second, copy link address, bring that down here. Actually, we don't need, yeah, let's have V anyway, right? Let's paste that in. Rather than access it from the browser, let's take it one step at a time. And this will be the first step that we do. I've given you a little teaser, hopefully, that we are going to dive into the authorization code. There we go. And so we get a 200 OK, right? And that is exactly the 200 OK that we get here. But there's nothing else to see, right? It's a bit, it's a bit obscure. But what's happening is that we get some HTML. And what that HTML does, in fact, let's do that again. Response.html. We're almost going to finish now. And then open vi response.html. That's a little bit better. We can see all it's doing, all that's in there is a script. And it's setting a cookie, fragment after login. It's also setting another cookie, location after login. And then it's saying location. Where does it say? Yeah, there we go. Then it's saying go to that location host. Okay, so it's basically doing a redirect. Okay, so effectively what we're seeing in the first step, the first beautiful, gentle step of this fantastic combination of approuter and XSUAA, is saying, okay, bang, set some cookies, redirect to here. Okay, so let's leave it there, right? And pick this up next week. Okay, this is super interesting, and you will see that the flow is exactly the OAuth 2.0 authorization code flow, which makes sense because then, if let me just show you what's happening, right? Is it this one? Yes. If I log on, we get the data, get the callback with the code, everything happens. But let's dig into that next week. It's just gone 9. Thank you for joining. It's been brilliant. Have a great weekend. Stay indoors, wash your hands, everything. Yeah, thanks for joining.